So at talking, it's a reoccurrence thing in our lives, even in our discussion day to day, even in our homes when we're talking to children, how we behave in our family. It turns out that you are selling yourself as a mother, you are selling yourself as a role model in your family. So sales is a recycled knowledge and is a recycled method that you can use to reach out to a lot of people, to gain and to make an impact. So for me, that's what sales is. And that's who Rita is. Because at each point in time of my life, whenever I talk, I sell myself and I sell my organization and I sell who I am as a Nigerian. So you can imagine how many of us go out and, out of the country, you misbehave, you have sold out your country. So that's why I said, however you behave, however you speak, it's a particular tactics of sales. Thank you, Dapo.
Thank you so much, Rita, for that brief introduction and also just telling us about what you really stand for. Right, great. We're excited and we will be learning a whole lot from that. Selling ourselves, selling our careers. Remember, this is all about your career. It's about our career. It's about how do we develop our career. So thank you for bringing it from that perspective. Whenever, whatever you do, you're selling yourself. You're talking more around who you are, what you represent. I'm excited to also announce that our second guest for today, in person of Charles Okeibunor, is in here. Thank you so much, Charles. It's exciting having you. Oh, I see you are actually somewhere on the road. Wow, thank you for doing this for us. We truly, truly appreciate you. When you didn't come on earlier, I felt something, probably network issues or whatever. But we're truly, truly so excited to have you here. I've done a little introduction about you, and I'll just leave the space for you just to tell us a little more about yourself, and we'll take up the conversation from there. Thanks so much, Charles.
Thank you so much, Coach. That was great to be here. And hello to everyone in the space. I have 3 philosophies. I want to thank you first for your patience and all moving in between different engagements. I have 3 philosophies, and the 3 philosophies are think, learn, and teach. Think, learn, and teach. And these 3 philosophies define my personality. You would be saying, oh, hello, Charles. I mean, what about knowledge? I tell you that knowledge is democratized from the time of birth. The moment a child is born, the midwife says, put the child to breast. They tell the mother what to do, but they don't tell the child what to do. The moment the child gets to the breast, the child begins to suck. Basic instinct. So your environment, your experiences are going to give you lots of knowledge. But however, you must subject all the knowledge to thinking, your ability to think through all the knowledge, the beliefs, the culture, the laws, the principles, the various pressures of the society, of politics, of education. All that knowledge is your responsibility to refine. And except you put it through your thinking faculty, then it means that you would have either an open mind or a closed mind. And neither of the two is as important as an active mind. The open mind just takes in everything like a dustbin. It doesn't reject. A closed mind is like a shut door. This is how it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But an active mind, however, knows when to open and when to close. And that active mind is a product of thinking. So think. You would know whether you like it or not. You would know, okay? You don't want to listen to bad music. Get into a bus, you will hear it. Get into the airport, you will hear it. Get out there. You don't have a control over knowing, right? But then if you think through, then you can say, even the good knowledge. Do you know the reason why some medications you drink today, they say read the literature, is because for some people, it's got very defeatist and debilitating side effects. For some people, they feel nothing. If for COVID, they say some people are symptomatic. They don't present anything, but they're positive. So what that means is even the good knowledge, you must think through it so as to adopt and adapt it to your personal experience, to your personality. That is the thing. And then you get to the learn. All right. So you think after you have thought through, it is the one you can adopt and adapt that you learn. And then you share. That's what makes the world a better place. Say, this is what works. You try it. Don't force anybody. You try it. If it works for them, then they keep moving. So that's my personality. I think, I learn, and I teach. Thank you, Dapo.
Wow. Wow. That's a whole lot for an introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I did tell you, and usually when we come for this session, honestly, it's a session for learning. It's a session for learning. The reason why we brought these professionals and why they have come to share their time. Remember, the whole underlining stuff around the career talk is we are here to share knowledge, to share experiences, to co-learn. So I may be going through one particular challenge, I may be going through one particular difficulty within the journey of my career. And one of the guests or somebody just asking a random question as it were, just dropped in something and it just helps. So when we come for this session, let's always remember that we are coming to a classroom. And thank you to Rita and Charles for really putting that in perspective. Thank you for really defining that. Rita has defined what she is. She has defined what truly describes her. And the same thing Charles has done that. Thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what we'll be doing over the next 1 hour, thereabout as time permits us. And we'll be continuing the conversation. I see a whole lot of people still logging in. Thank you so much for joining. We started getting it rolling. So let's just kick in as it were. And Rita, I come back to you quickly. We're still going to take questions. And please, as you join, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. Today, as I was describing, and you've told us everything about you is sales. Everything all about you is sales. And you also say everybody is selling something, and that's true. We may not be in the front of the customer selling something to get a check or to get money or whatever, but you're selling yourself, a career, you're selling. Just tell us again, how were you able to sell yourself off? If I use that word. So you started somewhere. At what point did you actually start as a salesperson? At what point did you get into sales? Today, we are looking at you right up there. Please tell us a little more. How did you climb? What are some of the challenges that you have faced? I know it's a whole lot. Just help us summarize it and let's pick one or two learnings from it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's okay. So for me, like you said, it's a whole lot. But everybody had a starting point. So I have my own, and I have had it for a while, and I think through it at every step of my career. So I didn't quite start early as a salesperson. When I finished school, I joined. My first job was technology distribution, owned by Leostan Eke, who is the owner of Signox. I know a lot of us know him. So that was my first, job opportunity out of school. And I had no computer knowledge. And I just, started there. And remember, that was when they now were talking about Y2K. Even me, I never knew what Y2K meant. So like that, and I'm like, oh my God, I joined as a receptionist, a graduate from school, and sitting in front of an office as a front desk executive. People walk in and ask questions about what their needs are and all of that. And someday someone now asked me, wow, you speak very well. Are you a graduate? I said, yes, I am. He said, so why are you sitting down here as a front desk executive? I said, well, that's Nigeria for you, looking for a job you don't have, and anyone that comes your way, you will just grab it. So that's it. But I'm, planning and looking up to what I can do next and all of that. So that's when it clicked to my brain and said, by the way, you are a graduate, so begin to train yourself, begin to get organized. So now I'm talking about what made me successful. So I got organized. I started training myself. First, I had to do a computer training. to tuning into the organization that I'm working in, irrespective of the fact that I'm just, picking up calls, taking inside sales calls, but I need to also equip myself. What is there for me in the future? So I started thinking, ahead of time. So I started being creative on my own. I started preparing myself and making sacrifices of not just picking calls, but assisting the salespeople to go bring out a printer, bring out a machine to sell, process it with them to understand what they are doing. So that was, the kind of sacrifices I made because I put in a lot more. Nobody is paying me for the extra things that I'm doing, but I wanted it for myself. So for everyone who really wants to grow, because if I start telling my stories, we won't live here today. So I'll just put it in a nutshell. Get organized, keep detailed records of whatever you're giving to do, so you are able to understand and able to also give out information at any point in time. And when you understand the people you're working with, for instance, how many people are in this organization? Who are my competitors? Begin to see everybody as your competitor or competition. Because if you don't compete with your fellow staff inwardly, you will not be able to learn the next steps. You will not be able to become creative. You will not be able to begin critically and analytically to know the next steps to take. So stay focused that, yes, I have set up these things for myself and I'm focused to achieving them. So that is all I can give you in a nutshell. And with that, you will see that you have within you provided great service to yourself and to the company as well. And with that, honestly speaking, you will excel.
Wow. Wow. As usual, I'm already filling up my pages with writing here. Really already filling up my book with writing here. I'm already usually without, and the beauty of this is, ladies and gentlemen, usually for our guests, I'm sure this is most likely the very first time Rita is meeting Charles. Except probably by chance they've met somewhere else, but I've never had the opportunity to introduce them. But usually when we come on this platform, you just see that from their different experiences, from their different perspectives, you just see a link between what we are talking about. So that's, for me, is a clear indication that success is success, honestly. The experiences may be different, the background may be different and all of that, but whatever roadmap, whatever channel, whatever as it were that you have used or somebody has also applied to be able to succeed, if you apply it, can also help you to achieve the same kind of successful result. So what Rita have just been able to summarize, I just quickly link them to learning that Charles talked about passionately. I just quickly link them to teaching that Charles talked about passionately. So being in an organization, understanding the organization, not just saying, oh, this is my job. So she got in there as a receptionist, and someone may just sit down there and say, okay, my job is just to receive letters and receive visitors. But what did Rita do? Went beyond that to say, how do I understand? How do I know about this? And today she is an industry leader within that organization. So I think we're already creating a good roadmap in terms of that. So personal development, sacrifices, those are the things I mentioned, getting involved, getting organized, knowing your industry, your product, your people, and of course, healthy competition. Competing against yourself. You want to be better than where you're coming from. Awesome, fantastic. Thank you so much. Charles, we come back to you with the same question. I know we already have a pact that as much as possible, we're taking so much today. We're taking so much. Please, just for me to confirm, where you are is a very safe place, right? I know
you are very safe. Yeah, I'm actually
very safe place. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for this sacrifice. You're a lawyer, you're a mediator, you work with multinational organizations and all of that. Here you are today. I've shared before you came up. As of today, I don't know, the last count, 27 books, right?
Yes, sir.
This last one made it 28, the one I got this week.
Right. I didn't even count that, yes.
Please tell us, where is this, where is this passion coming from? You're a lawyer, so maybe just also take us a little down memory lane. How did it all start? And where is this passion around people, around transformation, around all of that? Just give us a peep into that.
Where did it all start is a very difficult question because I've had many starts. So I've had several milestones and several new beginnings.
Okay.
So let me tailor my contribution to the professional from the context of how it all began. It all began from a thirst for something different from what I currently experienced or what I currently am or where I currently come from, my family, my culture and everything. I just wanted something unique for myself. I was very thirsty at a very young age. So I remember that I wrote my first external exam at 13. And when the lecturer, one of the invigilators came into the hall and saw me, then the GC is November, December, right? So he saw me and then he said, it was in a very condescending way. He said, but parents just waste their money. What is this kind of person looking for in this place, Yeah, so nobody gave me a chance because I was too young to be attempting an external examination. But it goes to show the sort of mindset that I had. I was a go-getter. I was somebody who just thought to be innocent. Just try something. It doesn't matter, It's now that I have come to think of what that mindset really is. What's that mindset? The mindset is either you succeed or you succeed. So failure is not an option. As soon as I got into the university, I became really boisterous. I didn't even get in as a degree student. I did a diploma in law. And then they said on the breakfast table that day, we were having with the family. My brother then said, they don't take people who have diploma. Now you want to go and do a diploma because you don't want to stay at home after you graduated from secondary school. And then I said, they take people who have distinction. And then he says, how do you know you would then make a distinction? And then I said, if people who make distinctions don't have two heads, then I'll make a distinction. Ladies and gentlemen, I made a distinction from diploma in law, University of Benin. That attitude of is either you succeed or you succeed is what has supported me. Because when I graduated from school, instead of doing what my colleagues would do, which they say, oh, you're a young professional, you graduate with a 2-1, you should get into the corporate world and all that. I said, I had an idea of what solution I wanted to provide for the world, and it didn't seem like I could provide that solution within a corporate space. In fact, I was looking for an organization where I could work for free just to gain experience in the specific area that I wanted to develop myself. So this is one of the fulcrum of what made me who I am. So going back memory lane, it was about venturing. I am a venturer, not an adventurist. So it was not so much for adventure, just doing it for doing sake. It was very, very deliberate. I would venture. I would want to do it, believing that I will succeed. And when I fail, I will try again and again and again. I sat back after I graduated and I found that litigation was not the solution to human relations. I had read law and I said, law is not the solution. Let me then look for a solution outside law. And that's why I went to mediation. Mediation in law, there has to be 2 disputes, and then you resolve the dispute by saying you're the winner, you're the loser. And oftentimes it creates bad blood. But in mediation, a third party discusses with them and looks for a Contrast that with the personal experience that I had, that mediation was still not a solution to human relations. I still ventured again to find a solution that will enable people improve their relationships, regardless of having a third. Began to teach relationship management skills. And I found a model called IRMP. So I moved from law to mediation. Found out that mediation was not the solution again, and then moved from mediation to the IRMP model. That if I can improve the relationship management skills of people, then they don't need a third party. And that's what brought me to where I am today. Every book I ever wrote, I wrote on my phone. I never sat down to write a book. I just pick my phone, an idea drops in, and then I type it and I save it. And that's what produced all 27 books.
I'm sure a lot of us are glued to our our seats. Please get some water, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. I told you that today is going to be, we have two very, very passionate guests on this seat. So please pick a drink, get some water. There's so much to internalize and just take in and soak in this afternoon. Interesting. Right. It's either you succeed or you get subsumed, you venture. I heard you talk about being deliberate, being very, very deliberate upfront, deliberate. And that's one word I've been using this year, which really aligns, being very intentional, being intentional. Being intentional about what you want to do, being intentional about where you want to be, being intentional about the kind of goals, the kind of results you want to deliver. It will not just happen. And if you stumble, like somebody said on this same platform, I think it was the second or the third edition way back, that sometimes even when you stumble on, you just stumble on the success as it were, it's not going to be sustainable. If you are not really working at it and really working to ensure that you are intentional about growing it. So thank you so much for sharing that background with us, Charles, in terms of your experience. Let me quickly attempt to take the first question. We'll still come back to talk a little bit more, but again, the way it runs is before we know it, it's 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and the time is already ticking. But we'll try and take a couple of our questions that have come in, and then we come back to the central theme of today, finding your career anchor. So you built an anchor around your career, and every individual must be able to really be able to have clarity around their career, clarity around what they want to be, what they want to achieve, like our guests have shared in terms of their experiences today. And that anchor is what really makes you to be able to stand and be firm and be able to pull through even when there are challenges and turbulence and all of that. We're coming back to talk about the career anchor, really finding your career anchor. But before we go into that, let me take two questions quickly from what has come in earlier. And I'll start with you, Rita. You've answered one of the questions when you were talking earlier about your staying power and really growing in terms of various challenges that will come. So you really talked about that. But I will be taking these other questions that talk about growing to become a global talent. So this question says, I've been trying to grow my career to become a global talent. Can you share some of the things you focused on that really took you to where you are as of today? Let me put this in perspective. Some of the joiners or the people on this call So on this call, we usually have a very wide range of participants, from people who are already at the very, what I would call, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, at self-actualization, they're already at the peak of their career. We also have people who are just joining, who are just beginning to grow their career. So we have all of that within the profile of what we have in here. Now, Rita, please help us. What were the exact things that you focused on? I know you shared a whole lot of things, the sacrifices you made and all of that, but there should be one or two things that was really driving you, especially looking at the top of the industry, the top of the career. You want to be a category king, like we usually measure it, which you are today. Are there specific things for any young caller or any young joiner today that you want to really talk about, that they can focus attention on to really be able to also make it to the top? Please talk us through some of those highlights. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Dapo. There are a whole lot of things one can do, to accelerate growth, or probably to grow yourself into a very big, person in sales or in an organization where you are. But for me, what really works for me, or had worked for me in the past decades, first was my communication skills. Once you are able to communicate, you will know the power of communication. There's power in communication, because once you get your communication right, every other thing will follow. There are some communications that you will pass through. If it's not well communicated, you will put yourself in a whole lot of trouble. So for me, communication skills is key. And that's my number one. And once I had that, the next thing that I talked about that has also been helping me, if you remember when I was talking about my first career, I talked about digital experience. So I told myself that I will be digitally, literate. So digital literacy is very important, and it will help you to grow. Because today we are all in the IT world. There is nothing you can do today without being digitally literate. What do I even mean by that? To just elaborate it and explain it a little more, down to the lowest part of it. Take COVID, for instance. COVID has been in this country for how many years? Assuming you were not digitally literate, assuming you don't know what IT is all about, assuming you don't know what computing is all about, what would have happened to a whole lot of us? What would have happened to the system? Every system would have crashed. So today, digital literacy should be your key point. It should be number one thing that will drive your growth. Because once you grab that, have your communication skills, the next thing you will equip yourself with is your self-knowledge. Which area are you concentrating in? What knowledge do you have in that area? Are you waiting for that to come and deal with it for you? No way. Are you waiting for Rita to come and teach you? No way. So you have to equip yourself. And there's a lot of means to equip yourself. Trainings here and there, like this one we are having today is, one kind of a very rare kind of training. You sit at the comfort of your home and you're receiving lectures, you're receiving good trainings. So that's what I mean by digital literacy. You already have that. Now you're acquiring your self-knowledge. You're trying to grab trainings from here and there, irrespective of the fact that you're working with a company who could send you for that training. So it's very important. Again, my emotional intelligence works for me. It does work for me. It allows me to connect. It allows me to, connect with my co-workers, my friends, my children at home. So I know how well to use it. So once I use my emotional intelligence, I get very connected with people. I get my work done. I get them to even do my own work for me, because we have come to one particular point where we now know ourselves and we are connected. And I have made it like a family. So wherever you are working, create that family environment. Create that comfortable environment for yourself. So you are not busy jumping around looking for a job. No, the one you have, make do with it. Create the environment to be sane. So it's same for you, it's same for your employer, it's same for people who are also your colleagues and people who are also your subordinates. So that helps me a lot. Then my final point to add to this is you have to be a problem solver. You have to be critical in solving skills. Because if you can't solve my problem, I will not discuss with you. If as many as possible that I come to you and say, oh my God, I have this thing to deal with. I have a report to submit. I have already written it. I need someone to read through it. And you become so irrelevant to me. You don't have time to read it. You don't have time to contribute. And I'm always the one going for it, doing everything, running around and making sure that things are put in place. I mean, why should I engage you? Why would you be my friend? Why would you be a colleague that I will come to, I'm looking forward to, see at work? So you have to think through it, know how to solve people's problems, no matter how little, no matter how huge. I know you can't solve all problems, but that's critical solving skills. Create it. If you can't solve it, advise. Put in your word into it so it can make one relax and say, oh, I have Biodu. Let me quickly call Biodu for this. Know me for what I can do. Let me also know you for what you can do. So when that thing props up, I'll be able to know where to hold you at the table. So that's it for me. So in a nutshell, digitally literate, problem solving, communication skills, self-knowledge, and emotional intelligence. That's it for me. Thank you.
That cuts through a whole lot of space. And thank you really for validating that hypothesis for me. If you come to my office now, I wish I could show you there, where I really wrote something about problem solving, where I wrote a small equation about problem solving, and that's the truth. We're all solving problems. If we're not solving problems, we're not relevant. That's the truth. You're selling, you're transforming organization, you are mediating, because there will always be conflict. Whatever, you are solving a problem. I was having the opportunity to share with some young people, and I said, get that mindset from the beginning. Yes, you go to an organization to work, to get salary, to get paid, to whatever it is, but go with a problem-solving mindset. That's what sets you apart. Every day you go to work, every day you get into the organization, be thinking, what is the problem to solve? Because it is people who solve problems that really eventually get value. So today people are chasing value, we're chasing the reward and all of that without really looking at. So awesome, critical skill there. Whether you're an entrepreneur within an organization or you are an entrepreneur that have brought resources together, everyone is solving a problem. Thank you so much for that insight, Rita. So grow yourself, growing never ends. You must continue to grow. I was sharing on a topic on workforce planning earlier in the day. And one of my students was just, will I continue to learn? Will I continue to read all through? I said, reading, learning never ends. It never ends. It never ends because things continue to be dynamic, continues to change. So you keep changing with the time you continue to learn. Communication, very critical. From the top to the bottom of the organization, you must be able to communicate what you do. You must be able to communicate the value that you bring and all of that. Great. Charles, let me also ask this question quickly. And like I said, this is focused at some, especially the young people who are just also looking to grow their career to also be able to get to the peak and not make some of those mistakes and the challenges that probably some of us have made in the past. So one question says, my boss is too demanding. I have a boss that is too demanding and I hardly have time for myself. And I know you've talked about continuous learning. Rita has talked about that will not come and develop you. Charles will not come and develop you. You must find time to develop yourself. But my boss is very demanding. I don't have time for myself. Have you had such a boss, Charles? And how were you able to manage? Or maybe today you are facing that situation. How are you managing?
Okay. Yeah, I started out consulting almost immediately after my NYSC. So I got a consulting job in Enugu, and I finished this work that had taken this organization about 10 years in 10 weeks. Now, it would appear that the person I work for just thought your appetite for work is unbelievable, rather than saying that I was overwhelmed. So everything is about time and chance. When you prism, time and chance, look at it from the prism of time and chance. What do you need to do to convince your employer that you are committed to the work? Because the moment you convince them that you're passionate, you're committed, you're a performer, they take their eyes off you. But the moment you give the impression that it's too much work, they're taking time, they begin to see you, perception is stronger than reality. They begin to think you're lazy, you're avoiding responsibility, etc., etc. So give yourself so much to your work that they do not want to pay attention because they believe that you will deliver. Then you can make time for yourself. I just realized that there is never enough time. There will never be a time when there will be enough time, except, of course, you don't have anything you're doing. And so if you're a professional on this call now and you're free, when you're low in money, if you're poor in money, you're rich in time. Now, when you're rich in time, you find yourself being poor in money. The context here is, if you find yourself being free, instead of ruining over it, just invest that time, because you may never be free like this again. So if you find that you're free, begin to ask yourself, how can I invest this time? I tell you, shortly after I left school, I realized that I had a lot of time. And I went to this man and I said to him, can I write your biography? And he told me, many people have come to me asking to write, but I never thought it was something. I said, look, I want to commit myself to writing your biography. And he said, okay, no problem, go ahead. I committed my time, night and day, to working on that. That was the father of Okonjo-Iweala. And by the time I was done with that work, it took about a whole year. But I committed about 5 to 6 months on that project. And it's a landmark project to date. The point is that I could have just stayed back and done nothing and said, oh, I'm so free. There's nothing like free time in context. Invest the time in relaxation. That's not free time. Invest it. If you're so busy, invest time to relax. Invest time to socialize. Invest time to invest in others. Call up a friend and just spend time with them. You are investing time. That's not free. There's nothing like free time. Doesn't exist. So when I designed last year, I'm sure you have a copy, the Diary of Priorities.
Yeah.
The Diary of Priorities was born out of saying, all time is important, but which is most important at this moment? That's how to actually win the confidence of your employer. Once you win the confidence of your employer, you can tell them, sir, I don't think I'll have time for this, and they will agree. Because you have proven yourself not to be an escapist.
Great takeaway there. Win the confidence of your boss. So your boss is demanding. I read a book somewhere by Leke Alda, where also dealt with this topic from a similar perspective. And what he says in that book, if I remember, I can't remember vividly, but just to paraphrase. It says every boss is demanding. Every boss will demand. In fact, that's the reason why you are there in the first place anyway. If your boss is not demanding, then maybe you are not adding value and the boss has just looked at you as whatever. So every boss is demanding, but very critical. I like the way you just rounded this up. Your boss now begins to respect you and begins to give you that capacity to manage time when you have delivered value, which also ties back to what our first speaker said earlier, because you have delivered value, because they have confidence in you now that you can manage the time, you will deliver the kind of result that is expected. They no longer breathe on your neck. They give you the time, then you can now structure your time, just like you say here, to say what is important, what do I do first, and all of that. And for those of us, I'm sure almost all of us on this call, we've gone through courses on time management, on managing delegation, and all of that. That's the point where delegation also comes in, because when you are being delegated to, the person who is delegating already knows that you can do it. So it's not telling you what to do. It's just telling you, this is the result I want. Go and bring the results. You now have to manage how you get that result and deliver the result. Great, great. Thank you so much. So time is a resource. You need to manage that resource effectively. Great. I think we are about, wow, how time flies. For those who are just joining, thank you for coming. Thank you for logging in. If you have any questions, any specific questions, please drop it in. I would also like to say at this point that one of the goal, which we started off, I think the last 2 sessions, is to also use this platform as an opportunity. By the way, I want to thank these 2 guests passionately, because part of the idea, part of the focus is when we have this opportunity to come together, we may have 1 or 2 persons who need some support in terms of either hand-holding, mentoring, and all of that. By way, when I introduced earlier, Charles is a coach, he's a mentor, he's all so many shades into one. The same thing with Rita. Rita is also passionate. She mentors young people. She mentors middle. She mentors business leaders. She also coaches. So one of the things we also do on this platform is, if you have an opportunity or if you have a need, I know they are available on the Fast Track platform, the Fast Track Academy. Both of them are mentors and also coach on the platform. So if you will be needing some support, mentoring or coaching at some point in the course of your career, you're on a threshold where you think you'll be needing some professional support, please reach out. We'll be able to create a link, and I'm sure 1 or 2 sessions will be able to add a whole lot of value to our careers. So please reach out to me if you will need specific either mentoring or coaching or whatever after this call. Right. So before I take other questions, let's just quickly, maybe in a minute or 2, finding your career anchor. Let's talk a little around that. And I mentioned earlier, Charles, that word anchor really came up from, we were just chatting. I was thinking what would be the theme for this month. And he just dropped something and it just came to me. Honestly, that's how that word came. Finding your career anchor for the year. Finding your career anchor for this time. I want to start with you, Charles, because you are the originator of that word. When we talk career anchor for professionals, what comes to mind? What should we be thinking about? How do you really anchor your career? Because there will always be challenges here and there. I know we've talked a whole lot about that, but how do you anchor so that you are not swept away by all the winds and all of that all around? Please tell us a little.
Okay, I like to say that your career anchor should be The line that you know you will not cross.
Okay.
You know, they give you a beautiful car, lovely car, leather seats, fully air conditioned, all the facilities and all the trappings of a beautiful car are in it. But just before you go, they tell you that, well, you know what? This car has no brakes. How many of us are going to ride in that car? Anyone? No one. Why?
Well, nobody.
Simply because they have told you, in spite of all the pluses, there is a fundamental thing: it has no brakes. The moment you know it has no brakes, you are no longer excited about its speed. The moment you know that the car has no brakes, you are not excited about the speed. So what's your anchor? Call your anchor your dish that must not be broken in 2022. What's your dish? D for dignity, I for integrity, S for spirituality, H for humanity.
Please, you want to take that again?
D, dignity. Your dignity. What makes you a person that can be respected and valued? Don't let anything take that away from you. Your integrity. Say what you mean and meaning what you say. Your spirituality, the things you hold sacred, you cannot hold them casually just because. Your humanity, knowing that even laws were made for men but not meant for the laws. What is your humanity? Doing your work with a human face. That's your career anchor. Your dish, your dignity, your integrity, your spirituality, your humanity.
Wow. That's another word to my vocabulary. The dish.
That dish.
Dish. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you for that. Rita, let me come back to you on that. Your anchor, your career anchor, finding your career anchor. It's a new year. It's the beginning of the year. It's the beginning of the year. And like we did say, it's a journey. It's a process. Things will happen in the course of the year and all of that. How do I just find that anchor that no matter what it is, no matter the situation, no matter the challenge, it just keeps me firmly rooted? Thank you.
Okay, I think Charles had given but to add to what Charles said, I will say that I need to remove my video. I think I'm having a little bit of challenge with network. So okay. I'll remove my.
All right, that's good. We can hear you clearly. Thank you.
So long as you can hear me.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Know that, yeah, you also have to know that goal setting can help you reach your anchor. So if you set your goals, you already are focused, you know what you want, you know where you're heading to, and all you need to do is to target it. So set your goals to reach your anchor. And to add to it, you must learn. That's all. So Charles also talked about time management and time sharing. For me, it is very critical. If you don't know how to manage your time, you will lose completely. You will not reach your sales anchor. You will not reach your goal settings. You will not reach to that focused target that you have set for yourself. So you need to manage your time. So that's why it's very critical for all of us to understand time management. If you give somebody an appointment that you are meeting at 8, be there a few minutes before 8 or a few minutes after 8, max 5 minutes. If you give me an appointment for 8, and you're not there for 8:05 worst case because it's Lagos, consider me not your friend. Consider me not going to give you another time. So for me, those three things are key. Learn, learn, learn. Manage your time and set your goals. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Learning coming up again. Learning coming up again. I'm sure if we search the keywords that have been used on this call, on this platform today, learning will be one of the keyword that has come up severally again and again and again. So learning, very important. You talk about goal, and I'm also looking at time, tying time to integrity. Because when we talk integrity, we just talk about it loosely and all of that. Everybody say, I have integrity and all of that. But where does your integrity really start? When you cannot keep to time, when you cannot manage time properly. That's where integrity really starts from. So great. Thank you for calling that out. And very, very importantly, goals. Your anchor really is firmly rooted when you have a goal. Remember the example we gave. The ship is anchored or is bettered in a particular location because there's a goal, there's something to do, whether there's something to deliver or there's something to, the ship does not just let down anchor. There is a goal, there's something to achieve. So you also start off with goal. What is the goal? I was also sharing in the course of the week at a retreat, and I said, we're having conversation around performance management, the challenges, the difficulties, and all of that. And someone was asking about the system, the process. I said, there's really nothing wrong with any performance management system. And I stand to be corrected. It's not about the system, it's about how the system works. And there are three clear things that just make the system work. Number one is the goal. What is the objective? What do you want to measure? What do you want to achieve? Then what is the process that you have built into it? Then the third leg, how do you execute? What are the things you do every day and all of that? If these three things are present, no matter the name you call it, either a balance scorecard, a leadership pipeline process, or whatever, it will work. Go. Very, very fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go back to our questions and take two more questions quickly. I'm conscious of time. I know we have just, we're running on the, how many minutes past 6 now? 12 minutes past 6. So I am conscious of time. So I'll take two questions quickly. And if anybody have any questions or any addition, please, you can drop it in the chat box. A little while down the lane, we'll be having what we call our open mic. We'll give one or two persons opportunity to speak. Either you want to add something to what has been said. Usually we dedicate some 5-10 minutes to that. Probably after taking this next set of questions. But let me take these two questions quickly and we progress. So let me start with Rita, and I know you've also talked around much of that broadly. You've talked about technology a whole lot, and you're already within that space of technology. Right. Everything seems to be changing. So this is one question. Technology is changing every day. Everything seems to be changing very, very fast. How can I keep pace with all the evolving changes? How can I keep pace with all the evolving changes? So before you are in that space, and I'm excited that you are the one taking this question. So technology, I'm sure if you come into the space of Intel today, I see a whole lot of your conversation around what Intel can help organizations do. And you've also alluded to that earlier when you talk about the fact that so today things have changed significantly in terms of how work is structured. We're having this platform now from different locations. We are connected and we are learning. Exciting. So for the young man, the young lady out there, or somebody in their mid-career that is looking at things continue to change quickly, especially around technology, and say, how, what should I do? How do I keep pace with this evolving changes?
So that's someone.
Okay, so for me, for you to keep pace, in this kind of world we are in that keeps evolving, it's something that is natural. You need to know that the best and first thing to do is to equip yourself with trainings. You don't have to wait for anyone. I've talked about it before. If you were at the beginning of this talk, I talked about training. I talked about self-assessment. You need to equip yourself to move with the moving train. If you don't, and you are like a disciple about it, it means you are not going to go far. So as things evolve yourself. Keep up yourself up there. If you have to be bold in a society which we are in today, all you need to do is to be bold with content. If you're bold and empty, you cannot evolve. So you have to be bold with content. And doing that is to train yourself, is to equip yourself. Give yourself that maximum training that you require. Even as I speak to you today, I still train myself. There are certain things I am not conversant with. There are things that I go and train myself in. And I don't wait for any organization to train me. I wake up and I set goals for myself. And I tell myself, I need to train on this if I need to move forward. Because we're all looking at career movement. We're all looking at the highest career in the future. I don't want to remain Rita, executive director in Intel. I will one day want to be, if not a minister of state in Nigeria, maybe somewhere in another country. So those are my objectives. I need to set a goal, set an objective for myself, train and equip myself to that objective so I can evolve with time. So as the world is evolving, I'm also evolving because I'm already ready for the next move. So that's my own take here.
Wow. Rita just raised the bar. So for those who are already looking at, country executive, country director, she has arrived. Rita is just starting. She's just starting. Thank you for really challenging us, Rita and Charles. Thank you for really challenging us to raise the bar. And also Charles has talked about that. Always thinking, so what next? So where is the solution? So what should I do differently? And this quickly makes me remember what one of our guests talked about earlier. By the way, one of them is in the call here. Margaret, thank you for joining. Tunde talked about this at the last call, that any day he gets into a role, he's already thinking about how to work himself out. And somebody asked why. And I said, yes, because over time, if I don't begin to work my way out or have an exit plan or have something, target something higher, then such person will just get stuck on that role. And it gets to the point, again, it may get to the point where you are no longer relevant or the organization no longer needs to see your face and all of that. What happens next? So you must always continue to raise the bar. Continue to set the standard, continue to think forward, continue to think, what can I do differently? So this is Rita telling us, beyond what I'm doing today in terms of my career, I'm also already looking at where can I be of much, much bigger impact, bigger service, better service to community. Grateful. Thank you for really throwing that in. Charles, I come to you. And I love this question. And I love the perspective where you've defined DISH already. Dignity, integrity, spirituality, and humanity. The truth is, in this journey, a lot of things will challenge it. And let me just read the question. Okay. How can you build resilience? How can you develop, continue to grow and be sustainable and now build resilience around your career? So you've defined for us what the anchor is. Yes, I must have dignity, integrity, spirituality. I must have all of that clearly defined. But the truth is, challenges will always be thrown at us. How do we maneuver those challenges? How do we ensure that the anchor is not broken? How do we ensure that we continue to stay rooted and firm in the face of all of these challenges? You want to share any experience that comes to mind or whatever around that? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Coach. Well, the point I would want to make in contributing to this very germane question is, what are your values and what are your goals?
Okay.
You want to build resilience. Define your value and define your goal. When you have defined your value and your goal, find the alignment.
Okay.
The alignment will be how to reach your goals without compromising your values.
Mm.
How to maintain your values without losing your goals. In other words, find the alignment between your values and your goals. The reason is because you need to understand the difference between succeed and success. Succeed is a verb, success is a noun. To get it right is to succeed. But to continually get it right is to be a success. Usain Bolt, for 16 years unbroken, maintained, he set the record, he broke his record, he set a new record. That is success. If a person runs the 100-meter race and finishes it at 10 minutes, 50 seconds, that may not be a fantastic time. But if he was the fastest at the Olympics, he will win the gold still. He has succeeded, but it's not a success. You can succeed when you sacrifice your goals for your values. You can succeed when you sacrifice your values for your goals. But if you're going to be a success, you must find an alignment between your values and your goals at all times. Because there will be times when they will conflict. You're under pressure of time, you're under pressure of resources, you're under pressure of your social pressure, your community pressure, your organizational pressure, etc., etc. When Enron went down as a multinational and highly successful organization, a statement was made that they knew how to circumvent the rule, but they were not smart enough to know why the rules were there in the first place.
Why?
Now, so to situate this conversation in the right perspective, three things will be important. Oftentimes, I will look at them as 3 C's to build resilience. Resilience. Resilience means passion. Passion is your ability to move from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. For that to happen, ask yourself, am I committed to this goal? Did I give it everything that it demanded? Number 2, am I compliant to the principles required to achieve this goal? Number 3, am I consistent in the application of my commitment and my compliance? If you put these 3 C's into consideration, even if the result is nothing to write home about, keep at it. Soon enough. In one of my books, 10 Common Mistakes Managers Make, I said a common mistake that managers make is focusing on results only and not efforts. So if you focus on results only and not efforts, you will achieve the results at all costs and by all means, which can erode a lot of things. On 1st of November 2021, a 21-story building came down on its developer and several people. But that's not the tallest building in Nigeria. The tallest building in Nigeria is in Ibadan, and it's been there since 1965. So we are building high goals on deep values, commitment, compliance, and consistency will build resilience. Thank you.
Commitment, compliance, consistent. Also looked at the difference between succeed and success. We can succeed, but we need to be successful. And that's what the anchor and the resilience helps us to establish. Great insights there. Great insights there, Charles. Thank you so much. Before we begin to go on the home stretch, I don't know at this point if anyone has any question or any contribution. We'll quickly go on to our open mic session, and I'll do that just for 5 minutes. Then we come back, and in another 5-10 minutes, we begin to wind down this session. But I do truly hope, I usually say one thing, that for me, the goal for any of this session is if 1 or 2 persons have been able to find something that is useful, something that will help them navigate that boulevard within their career, something that just possibly helps us to rejig our thinking. And by the way, I just also learned a new definition around learning sometimes in the course of the week. That yes, we say we learn, but learning actually happens when there's a friction, when there's something that challenges something that you knew before, when there's something that challenges how you've been doing something before and all of that. That's when learning actually happens. But learning is always complete. So it could happen, but it may not be complete. And learning is complete when you now begin to now apply that new thing, that new thinking, that new friction that has happened, that new thing that has challenged your thinking and all of that. You now want to try it out. That's when learning actually happens. This again ties us back to where we started it from. And I'm sure that's where Charles talked about teaching. So you now want to share that thing. You want to share that experience. You want to share with another person learns. And honestly, that is what this whole platform is all about. So if 1 or 2 persons have been able to pick something from these conversations today, and that has probably tweaked your thinking in one area, triggered something or challenged or caused some friction, I think the motive for today has really been achieved for me. So I will open the mic. If there's anyone that would like to say something, please can you just show by hand so that we can let you unmute. We'll do that quickly. Or you have a question. We still have a couple of questions here that I've not read. But if anybody has any question, either directly to Rita or Charles, or you have something to add, or whatever that we can learn from, I'll give that opportunity before we come back and begin to round up. So anyone want to say something, you have a question, you want to add something, you want to share some experience quickly that we can also learn from. Wow. Okay, so I've not seen any hand. Okay, I see somebody trying to, this person trying to unmute. I can't see a name there. All right, so if there's no question this far, maybe I'll just take, I don't know, because we've honestly talked through most of the questions. I'm just looking at the questions. All right, I see one hand up. That's Techno 3+. Please go ahead, unmute yourself and just speak. Please go ahead. Thank you. I can't see the name, but I see Techno 3+. Please unmute yourself and speak. I can see your hand.
Hello, good evening, sir.
All right, thank you. Good evening.
My name is Senior Bongdo. Sorry, I actually joined you guys late.
Okay, Neil.
I couldn't get it right as I supposed to be. But I actually enjoyed the
Shut the fuck up, nigga, monkey, stick. Nigga.
No. Hello.
Hello.
My demons are coming out. My demons are coming out. My demons. Lord, save me. Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. My demons are coming out. I need Jesus.
Hello.
Jesus.
Hello.
We're having some. Please go ahead.
Hello. In Africa, there is no food in Africa.
Can you hear me?
Africa is poor. Africa is poor. No food.
Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. Jesus.
Apologies. I think we have an infiltration
Africa is very
into.
bad.
Just hold on.
Very
Banana.
bad. Banana.
Maybe you have to mute him. Mute him so we can go on.
Activate the waiting
Hello.
room.
मुझे burger खाना है.
So just hold on. I'm taking the infiltration out.
Infiltration.
Shut up, man. Shut up.
Inda
Emerald
beninging.
Dawn. Shut up, man.
Inda beninging.
You are very bad.
Technology
In the
and the
beginning.
challenges.
You are very bad.
What is
Emerald
your
Dawn.
name? Your name
Just
is
put him on mute. Put him on mute.
Yes, I'm doing that.
Shut up. Bitch.
It's not one person. I think it's about
Just
two
shut up, you
lines
bitch.
that came in. Yeah,
Bitch ass motherfucker.
Then mute all of us.
yeah. Okay.
Hello.
All right. I think we're good.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Just make it briefly. We've lost some time.
Okay, sorry about that. I was even thinking that the challenge was from my side.
No. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually enjoyed the whole program. Oh, but hello.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so how do we manage that spirituality and secular issue?
Okay.
How do we manage it in the area of
Finding that balance. Okay. Finding that balance. All right. Noted. I'm sure Charles will talk about that quickly. Finding a balance between spirituality and secular. All right. Thank you.
and then and in the area of
Wow. What is this?
in the area of independency, how can we think outside the box? Not every time we consider employer-employee issue. You understand?
Yeah.
The area how can we think of becoming an employer? Because we have to conceive. You have to conceive an idea on how you can, and then you develop it. So I think we have to consider that also.
Okay. All right, so Charles is helping to help us deal with this infiltration we are having. Apologies about that, but I'm sure we'll be able to lock this infiltration out. Apologies about that. I've made you co-host, so you can help us deal with this. Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
Wow. Challenges with technology. Again, this is another interesting topic. Interesting development. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's you know, Zoom is a little bit you know, it's easy to manage. Once you activate the waiting room now, so you find out that coming trying to accessing it is going to create that bottleneck. Just make me the main host also.
Okay.
Yeah, make me the main host. I will then just make me the main host.
Recording in progress.
All right, you have it.
No, I'm co-host.
Yeah, kick these guys out. They're bad people.
Apologies, everyone.
Right.
We should be closing this. Oh, was this someone else?
Because I'm trying to activate the waiting room. Okay, so it's all right. It's activated now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So right, in balancing spirituality, to answer the question, you know,
Yeah.
The clarity here will be that most of the times we think that spirituality is at variance with our workplace, but in actual fact, it is not. The context I mean by that I mean in context that a lot of times the real demands on our spirituality is actually for us to affirm who we are and where we stand. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why when people are asked questions about where they stand, many of them never really define where they stand. Many of them never really define where they stand. And so because they don't define where they stand, a lot of things now come into place. They are the ones they are asking to compromise. Because from the outset, they never defined where they stand. From the onset, they didn't define where they stand. The moment you define where you stand from the onset, it's easy for you to navigate the murky waters of the workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the moment where they stand, pretty much, I feel like the particular structure of the facilitator, it's like people don't really understand you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I don't know if I supported you with that answer. So if there are any other questions, we can still take them.
And I was speaking. Apologies. Forgot I was on mute. Right. So I think what we just do is to round this up. Apologies to everyone for this unfortunate intrusion that we had. Just coming to obstruct the exciting flow we've been having on this. So in closing, before we call it a day completely, in closing, what would be your closing words for us? I know you've shared so much. You've really poured out a whole lot in the course of the conversation. But just in closing, are there any other thing, most especially for me again, at this time, which is an exciting time again, the start of another new year, the start of another journey and all of that. Are there any parting shots that we can just take away from this session and just begin to, from Monday, put to use? Any other thing coming to mind? Can I start with Rita? If Rita is still, I know all this discussion has happened. All right, Rita, so, thank you so much. All right.
Thank you everyone once again. So we've said it all today and being hopeful that things that I've communicated today will make so much impact in all of us. So my closing remark is just know you. Know yourself very well to a point where your passion will fuel you. Because for me, passion is everything. Passion, they say, is the fuel that inspires and drives people. When you have passion for everything, then you have passion towards a specific goal. Remember that once that is there, you will be able to excel. So my closing remark is understand the definition of passion. Have passion for whatever you need to do and know yourself so that you will be able to excel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fuel your passion. You must have passion and you must continue to fuel that passion. That again helps us to be able to build and sustain the resilience, sustain the capacity to be able to stand irrespective of any challenges. Thank you so much for those parting shots, Rita. Charles, we come to you. Your parting words, your parting shots for us. We've taken so much. One or two other things just as takeaway, the way we call it, to take home, in addition to ice the cake.
Thank you so much. My parting shot will be that in the University of Experience, nobody's a graduate. Make yourself a lifelong learner. And the context with which I share this is there is something better than just knowing. It is to understand. A 16-year-old, based on their environment or exposure, may know what a 60-year-old knows, but does the 60-year-old understand? Understanding is your competitive advantage in 2022. It's good to know. It's better to understand. But to be the best, you need to know and understand. So most information outside there is misinformation. Don't just know, understand. Don't just know yourself. Understand why you do the things you do. Don't just know where you are right now in your career. Understand why you are there. Don't just know, understand. Where do you want to be? Don't just know where you want to be. Understand why you want to be there and understand what it takes to be there and understand who you will be when you get there. Don't just know about trust. Know that your decision determines your destination. So don't just know, understand. Understand people, understand yourself, understand your environment, understand your goals, understand your values, understand, seek to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, go beyond just knowing to understand, because understanding will make you outstanding. Thank you very much.
Wow, understanding will make you outstanding. What a finishing line. What a finishing line. And thank you again, Coach Charles, for really validating. As you speak, as Rita spoke, you continue to validate a couple of things that probably I've thought about, I've shared, and all of that. Understanding why. We talked about the critical thing that distinguishes organizations that are world-class, that are always leading and all of that. They understand why. So something that's the golden cycle. So some organizations understand So, sorry, many organizations or individuals understand what. You understand what they do. They understand what they do. Some organization, few organizations understand how they do those things. But just a few organizations understand why. And the same thing with individuals, the same thing in career. If you look at people who today are category kings in their line, in their career, in their industry, they don't just understand what they are doing, which everybody understands. They don't just understand how to do it, which some people know, but they understand why. And that's what gives them the capacity to be able to do it again and again in different circumstances, in different situations. So thank you for dropping that again, understanding and really knowing why. That sets us apart in the course of this year. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for as many that have been able to stay with us this long, apologies again for those intrusion. But I'm very, very excited. I'm very happy that we've been able to pull this through again. So when we started, a little challenges, hiccups here and there, but at some point we're able to stabilize. And I am sure that somebody somewhere has been able to take something out of this session today. That's the whole essence of Career Talk with Professionals. How do I better myself? How do you better yourself? How do we go out there and do something different? I would like to truly and passionately thank our guests today. Thank you for this sacrifice. Without any hesitation, when I reached out, they both agreed to come on this session to come and share this experience. We will be bringing you back in a future date because this is continuous. It has come to stay. As we have the capacity, maybe we'll begin to run this on a monthly basis. We'll not do it every other month, but as we have the capacity, we can begin to run this every other month. And we begin to put it out there. Somebody somewhere needs some ginger, if we use that word. Somebody somewhere needs some talk. Somebody somewhere needs some experience to share from so that they can be better at what they do. So I'd like to thank you first, Charles. Thank you so much, especially for this sacrifice, stopping on the road to join this call, and for all what you have dropped in here. Thank you so much. Rita, I can't thank you enough. I know I was really, literally chasing you up and down today. You have a lot of activities, a whole lot of things to attend to, but you just continue to assure me that it is done. So thank you. That is a commitment. I'd like to really thank you so much. So all our guests, those who have been able to join this call, we look forward to the next call, which is going to happen. The next session is going to happen in March. But before then, let's all continue to go there, continue to win. We already have the anchor. It has been dropped, and we have all owned our anchor for the year. Whatever it is, let us continue to go out there and continue to win. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous year. Have a wonderful time out there. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Charles. Bye. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rita. Connect with you on
Thank
LinkedIn.
you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Please, let's connect on LinkedIn as much as possible. Let's connect. Let's continue the conversation and the relationship, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to all my friends. Thank you to all other time. Grateful. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much. Good job. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you, Timothy. Thanks, Femi. Thank you, Lola. Thanks, Nasir. Thank you, Bumi. You've been in all through the session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sahid.
It's my pleasure, sir.
From Toronto in Canada. Thank you for joining at this point. Thank you. Thank you, Basirat. Thank you, Lola. Thank you all for joining. We truly appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening and have a good week ahead. Bye-bye.
You too, sir. Bye.
Bye.